Hello, everybody, and welcome to the giant conversation that is Topic Talks. I am here once again with Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm doing well.
So you skipped out the last episode, right?
Yeah, I had some stuff I had to take care of, but I'm here. So,
Well, we're glad to have you back.
mhm.
We got a busy day ahead of us. We got a lot of content to cover, a lot of really exciting things. The first one is something funny that, like I always do. I found something really cool, and this is kind of a lot of you don't know. I work in kind of like a customer service. Um, I work at a store, and so this is something that kind of made me laugh because you get those customers that are really kind of just rude, and you do whatever you can, you're as nice as you can, and it just kind of puts a damper on your day. Mark, you know this working in because you work in the restaurant business, don't you?
Yes, however, I've always worked more in the back of the house,
You've
but
never worked on the floor?
you know what? I did work at Target for a while, and I was out on the floor as a retail employee. I worked the cash register and all that stuff, so I know what it's like to deal with the public. And I have to say, there's times when it can be fun, and there's times when it can be a special kind of hell.
Oh yeah, you can meet some great people. I've met a lot of great people working because I worked at a restaurant for a while.
Mhm.
I did that for about 2 years, and now I'm at my current job. I worked at a factory, so I've met a lot of kind of people. Anyway, so
But
there's this.
it can be a special kind of hell
It,
sometimes too.
it can.
There's some people out there who are real pieces of work.
Yeah, there is. And so what happened is there's a store owner, and his name's Austin Simmons in
Praise this man.
Roanoke, Virginia, and he thought a couple customers could use a little bit of manners. So the cups of coffee and tea were put up on a sign indicating the more impolite you are, the more you're going to have to pay. So it was the sign kind of said, one small coffee, $5. One small coffee, please, $3. Hello, I'd like one small coffee, please. 175.
You see, I feel like anybody who actually works in this kind of industry would totally understand this and could get behind this because really, a little bit of politeness really does go a long ways.
So much. I mean, and it's also you don't know what kind of day that the people have had, and it just walking up and saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" I know Mark. I was messing with him earlier because at school we have a food truck that stops by, and there's a
Oh
lady. It's the
yeah.
same lady every time, and she's always really nice. And Mark was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" You know,
Mhm.
and I'm like, Mark, don't mess. Like, I'm
That's
like, don't
funny.
talk to her. She's trying to concentrate. And he's like, I'm just trying to be polite.
Yeah, I try to brighten everybody's day whenever I get a chance, but like I said, a little bit of politeness can really go a long way for some people.
Well, yeah, and so I really like this guy because I've had those customers that are just right when they walk up, you know that they're gonna make your day horrible for the rest
Hmm.
of the day. Because sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you'll get those people, and they'll sit there, and when they walk up that you're gonna, it's gonna kind of turn your day in a bad direction, and depending on how the rest of your day goes, it could keep it that way. I know when something bad happens to me, it kind of ruins my whole day, and every once in a while I'll get something that's just really funny or
Hmm.
something that'll just kind of brighten my day. So
Thankfully for me, sometimes, I mean, even working back a house, this kind of stuff happens, and I try to be one of those people where it's like, yeah, something might make me seethe for a couple minutes. You just really just get under my skin, but you know what? I never let it bother me for long. It's like life isn't about focusing on the bad. I try to be optimistic. I try to look at the good. If something negative happens, the best thing you can do is let it be. Just go on. It's in the past, and move on towards the future.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's and even the guy was quoted. He said, "I just decided because I need to solve all the injustices in the world to start changing more for people who didn't take the time to say hello and connect and realize we are all people behind counters." Um,
Ain't that the truth?
it is though, I mean, I never really thought until I started working in a restaurant how hard waitresses and busboys and cooks and people at Starbucks. I never realized how hard they worked until and not a lot of people can appreciate it or know how, realize how much work it is until you work in that kind of environment. Working at a restaurant, I almost never give a bad tip unless they really deserve it. If the waitress is horrible, I will give a bad tip, but
Mhm.
I'm a very generous tipper. It's one of those things where it's made me, because I've seen people who just sit there and screw around and they'll get a bad tip and be like, why did I get a bad tip? Well, you didn't do a great job.
You
But
see,
then I've seen other people who bust their butt and get bad tips because people are stingy.
exactly. I mean, there's been times where it's like, I always try to leave at least 15%. Whether, even if I don't have drinks, I understand it's a tough business. And, a lot of people, they literally get by on those tips. So I try to be as
I try
generous
to
as
go
I
with
can.
20. I lean more towards 20%.
Well, I
Um,
mean, if I have drinks, it's definitely at least 20%.
I was gonna say, if I kind of picked this up from my girlfriend. If I have a drink, if I'm just having drinks, I'll tip $1 a drink.
That's good. That that's a pretty good way to go about it.
Because, like if you have a bill, you can go off a percentage.
hmm
But if you're having like individual drinks, you can just tip $1 per drink.
Yeah, I remember there was one time I felt so horrible about it. We went to a restaurant, and our waiter was he was a really good guy. He took good care of us, all that. We joked around and everything, and I felt horrible when we left because I was a little tight on money at the time, and we scrounged up everything we could. We didn't expect it to cost that much,
Right.
so we didn't get a chance to leave as big of a tip as we wanted to. And even now, it's like we don't go to that restaurant anymore because really after a while the quality of the restaurant really went down, and so we don't go to that one anymore. But like for the few times after that we went, I felt really bad, and I never saw him there again. But if I would have, I would have been like, listen, you served us once before, and you were really good, but we didn't have the money. I would have tipped him even though he wasn't our waiter the next time. But I never did see him again.
Right.
But
I've got some waiters that I've had on Facebook, and I'll message them before I get there. I'll be like, hey, are you working?
hmm
And if they say yes, I'll come in and say, okay, I'll be right in.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Because when you get those waiters and waitresses that you like, they start to get to know you. And I mean, that didn't happen, the first time we had this guy. It was, we went to, it was actually at an Applebee's. We went to Applebee's quite a bit, and we kept having him, and he pretty much could almost bring out our drinks exactly the way we wanted them.
And it's good when you got like a waiter or waitress that literally gets to be like a regular for you. Like when you get the same one,
Right.
after a while, sometimes they'll even know what you like, and it's great when that happens too.
Well, I work in a mall, and I buy my lunch a lot of the time. I try to bring it as much as I can, but it takes a lot for me to, me and my girlfriend to get together so we can actually go shopping. But when I eat out, I go to this one place because I know that they're always quick. Because I get a half an hour. My boss doesn't care whether it took him a half an hour to give me my food or not. I get a half an hour. If I get back, because I work for a big corporation.
Exactly. And
So it's kind of like they don't care.
That's how corporate is.
Well, but I know that this place is quick, so I go there, and it's gotten to a point where I just walk up, and they already start ringing me up. I don't even have to say anything.
Right.
I make small talk, but they already know what I want, and they may double check and be like, "You want this, right?" And yep.
Yeah, and you know what? That's great when that's a nice, it's nice to have that.
Anyway, so the moral of the story is, guys, is if you have a waiter or waitress or barista or whatever, make sure you tip them good or treat them good, because those are people that, they may not even like their job. I didn't like working in a restaurant. Some people love it, so it's just you need to treat them good because they are people too.
I mean, my first two jobs were prime examples of this. At first I was a pizza driver, right?
Yes.
And I have to say, not a fun job. I mean, first of all, you get a lot of irate customers.
Right.
Plus, there's the whole factor of having to find out where you're about to be going and all that stuff.
Right.
And this was like kind of when like GPS and smartphones were still kind of new, so like they were kind of glitchy and all that. And
end up at the wrong house, kind of glitchy.
I have to say the worst ones were always apartment complexes.
Oh yeah.
As a pizza driver, I have to say, like, trying to deliver a pizza to an apartment complex is an absolute nightmare. It's almost never on time because you're going to be spending at least an extra 5 minutes at least trying to find out what apartment number it is.
I drove for a car service, and I even had the apartment number, but just trying to find the building was hard for me, because half the time the numbers are tore off the building, and you see the fade mark of where the the number was, or it's hidden in a weird spot. They're on all different places on every single building, so you got to try to find the right building. Then you got to try to find. Luckily, I didn't have to go to the apartment door. I could just sit out in the car, call the
Right.
person on the phone, and go, "Hey, I'm out front." Then they'd come in, but it's like apartment complexes are horrible. They're so bad.
Luckily, when I was a pizza driver, though, the times that I did have to, deliver to an apartment complex, my customers were at the very least understanding whenever, the few times that I did. I never really got an irate customer from an apartment complex. But, I have to say, though, there are people out there who are, they're very irate about that kind of stuff. And I gotta say, it really stresses you out, and then, there's also the people who are just cheap. They don't like tipping you or anything like that. I mean, I'm not saying it's required to give you a tip, but you gotta think some people, like, they don't even make minimum wage because they make tips.
Oh yeah, waiters and waitresses don't make minimum wage. They make it's crap. They make crap.
Horrible. It's like a fraction of minimum
But
wage.
you know what? On the other hand, they make great tips. But that's only if you tip them good.
So you gotta think, half the time these people are literally living off the tips. So
I was gonna say I know a waitress who she was an awesome waitress. She doesn't do it anymore. She got her degree, but she was an awesome waitress. She was always on time. She was always checking in and make sure you needed everything at the right time. She wasn't overdoing it, and she'd get so mad because people like she'd get a lot of good tips, but every once in a while she'd get someone who'd tip her, not even, like they'd tip her barely
garbage.
anything.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, "Really?" She's like, "I busted my butt for this table and they didn't appreciate it." And it just it makes you feel like you did a horrible job. And I can tell you, there's a lot of waiters and waitresses that don't do horrible jobs. Even if they're having a bad day, it's a talent to be able to throw on a smile, even if you're having a bad day, and say, "Hey, how are you? Can I help you with anything?"
I have this one coworker. They go to school and all that, and they happen to be a server. Well, I mean, obviously they're a server, but one of the people that they go to school with, their family, they come into our restaurant a lot, and they're pretty much well known for not giving good tips.
Right.
And and then she just happened to end up in the class with their son or whatever, and he knows that they're not very good about tips, and they as soon as he noticed that that they were in the same class together, he won't even make eye contact because it's just because it's awkward, because it's like, oh man, that's that server, we don't tip them good, and here it is, they're sitting like 2 seats over from me, and and it's just like, yeah. Gotta think, small world, people. Just those people who are your servers and they're busting their tail and all that stuff. They're people too. They're part of this small world. There's a good possibility you might see them other places too. So
right.
The moral of the story is, we're all human beings, so let's treat each other like human beings, not robots, or it's like it's not like I don't know how to explain it.
Well said, Mark.
But I don't know how to explain it. Well said. But,
no, what you said was great, because that's, these are people, and you may run into them one day, and so keep that in mind when you're tipping. I mean, if they do a horrible job and you run into them, they'd be like, "Why'd you tip me?" Well, they probably won't ask that because they probably know that they did a horrible job. And if they do, think back to what kind of job they did, and either A, try to help them improve, or B, tell them what you had problems with. They can always get better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even having like productive criticism, it's as I get older, I actually
I enjoy constructive criticism.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing. It's like I would rather have somebody give me productive criticism than to just tell me that everything I'm doing is fine, because when you give me that criticism, that gives me something to improve on. It's not it helps me to become a better person.
Well, and it's kind of funny because I took a leadership. Well, I actually took it, and then I started staffing this leadership training for Boy Scouts. And one of the things that was great about it is it kind of taught you to take constructive criticism, because what they did, and we were the only one that did this, because this is a course that's taught, all around the U.S., and we were the only ones that did this, and we were one of the most successful, but because it was the people that were doing it. So like we had dances that we would do. We'd dance to the song Cotton Eye Joe and things like that.
Oh yeah. Where'd
Well,
you come from? Where did you go?
I was gonna say another thing that we would do is we would start right when we found out who the scoutmaster is, because that was appointed by the council itself. Once we found out who the scoutmaster was, we would start having meetings. We would have one meeting every month, and then as it got closer, maybe 2 meetings a month, and then we would go out a full week before the course started, and the course was a week. So we'd go out a full week before the course started to set up. But during those meetings, what we do is we got assigned because we had presentations we had to do. We had this giant book. It's huge. It's almost like a giant math book
Oh.
of just content that we had to cover and presentations that we had to do. And so what we did is everybody got assigned their presentation, or you got to pick it if you wanted to. If you'd been on staff before, you kind of got first pick on which one you wanted, and then everybody else just kind of got assigned, or you could pick which one you wanted after that. But what we would do is we would pick it out, kind of read over it, and the first meeting was just kind of sitting around, getting acquainted with everybody, and then by the second meeting, you were expected to have read over your presentation, because you have to do it mostly word for word. There's a lot of key phrases that you had to do, so you mostly had to just memorize this.
Right.
But you were expected to have read it and at least have some form of practice, because those meetings we broke up into 2 groups, and in each group everybody stood up and did their presentation.
Right.
And then you would have to stand there, and they would give you constructive criticism. They'd be like, "That was awesome." Now, they'd be like, "Okay, what were some good things about his presentation?" Well, he made eye contact with he made sure to look around and make eye contact with a few people.
Right.
That was good. Okay, well, what else did he do good? Well, he moved a lot with his hands. He was very vocal with his, and his body language was really good. He wasn't just standing there. Okay, well, what's some things that he could improve on? Well, he needs to know his content a little bit more. Okay, that's fair,
Mm-hmm.
And it actually helped. I mean, I'm not good with, huge crowds being in front of them, but which, gave me a little bit of a kind of a stage fright. But it's weird. I'll go up there and I'll do it, and then when I get done, I don't remember what it was like to be standing in front of all the people.
Oh yeah, because you're just in the zone, you're doing your thing.
Well,
and
then I
over.
think I'm doing I thought I was doing really horrible, and then some of the adult instructors are like, "That was really good presentation. You did an awesome job." But it's also that but I had practiced it for months. Right when we found out who the scoutmaster was, we started planning our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple overnight campouts, but all we did was just practice our content. That way we knew what we were talking about, and if anybody had any questions, we were able to answer them. And that's kind of one of those things, the constructive criticism is something that helped me get better as a person, as a public speaker, as a leader, because I'm teaching this content that I learned the year before, and I taught that course for about 3 years in a row. I think it might have been 4 years altogether. It might have been 2 years in a row, and then a third year, because there was a year I couldn't do it. But either which way, the constructive criticism from every time that I took that course, it always helped me. It made me better. There was always something that I could improve on. But everybody always had something they could improve on. So if you find people that you tip bad, let them know. If they ask, let them know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be rude about it. Just say, well, there was this, or I mean, you could even say, hey, I was kind of low on money. I wanted to give you a great tip. You did an awesome job. Or sometimes, like Mark, for your problem, even if you do have, you are running low and you feel bad, write a little note. Take a napkin, write a little note, and say, you did an awesome job. I don't have much, but here's what little I have.
Right.
Thank you, or something like that. You know how many notes people left for waiters and waitresses that I worked with, or for me? There were a couple tables that I didn't really wait on. I went and got them their drinks and kind of helped the waiter out a little bit. But I would kind of check on them with the waiter and joke around with them and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple tips that way.
Right.
They're like, "Are you allowed to get tips?" I'm like, "I don't know." They're like, "Well, here, you did an awesome job. You it was great talk, and it was just little things that I did. You know,
They make the
I
difference.
kind of kept up with a joke that they, that was having, or kind of had a running joke or something,
Mhm.
and little things like that matter. So if leave a note. That's another good way. Kind of reeling it back in. No, I thought what this guy did was kind of cool. It's because some people don't really think. You get in the zone and you're like, they're like, hey, how can I help you? And you're like, coffee now.
Right.
I mean, when I get in the morning, I get kind of ornery if I don't have my coffee. So, it's
I found out I'm like that with radio. Like, for example, like if I'm driving somewhere in the morning, I have to have the radio on because otherwise
Are
it does not end well. There was a time when
you gonna shoot somebody's head off?
I had to take my brother to school, right?
Yeah.
And this probably happened for a couple times for like a week, and my car was in the shop, so I had to use my mom's car, and the radio was out. And I'd never even realized that when you're driving and you're early in the morning and it's tired, it's early in the morning and you're tired and there's
Sounds
nothing
like
to
you're
listen
tired
to.
right now.
Oh, I'm always tired.
Me too.
But like, it just really having the radio like really makes it bearable. And for me, like, I have to have it because otherwise my the positivity in my personality quickly deteriorates, and I get very impatient, and I get very irritable, and it's better to just have my radio.
Yep. Yep. I can understand that.
Mhm.
Anyway, no, I thought this was really cool, and it was something that kind of made me chuckle because I've been in that scenario where people have just been rude to me, and I wanted to say something, but I haven't. So this was kind of cool. At least I thought.
Definitely, I think this is a kind of thing I can get behind. I think more places should start doing stuff like this.
Well, why don't you give us your opinion, guys? You can go under a Topic Talks Facebook page. Let us know. You can contact me directly, but let us know how you feel. Kind of get a conversation going.
Definitely.
Um, and I think it's kind of time to move on. Um, and we're gonna move on to Mark's multiverse. So, Mark, you want to take it away?
Sure. So check this out.
No, I don't want to.
I've talked about alternative energies before.
Oh no.
And hey, you know what? It's the future, and I'm about to go on for a little bit with it because
Do I have a pillow right here?
very funny. Anyways, so check this out. In the waters off the coast of Hawaii, a tall buoy bobs and sways in the water using the rise and the fall of the waves to generate electricity. The current travels through an undersea cable for a mile to a military base where it is fed into Oahu's power grid, the first wave-produced electricity to go online in the U.S. By some estimates, the ocean's endless motion packs enough power to meet a quarter of America's energy needs and dramatically reduce the nation's reliance on oil, gas, and coal. But wave energy technology lags well behind wind and solar power, with important technical hurdles still to be overcome. To that end, the Navy has established a test site in Hawaii with hopes the technology can someday be used to produce a clean, renewable power for offshore fueling stations for the fleet and provide electricity to coastal communities in fuel-starved places around the world. Personally, I think this is really cool. I mean, here it is. This is a good example of taking a limitless, core source and making something of it. It's like using current electricity, all that kind of stuff. Hydro, what was it? Hydro, I forget.
Ponics?
Not hydroponics. That's totally different. Well, actually, oh yes, it is different, but it's
a
similar
weed store.
It's not just weed. Anyways, Hawaii would seem a natural site for such technology. As any surfer can tell you, it's blessed with powerful waves. The island state also has the highest electricity costs in the nation, largely because of its heavy reliance on oil delivered by sea, and has a legislative mandate to get 100% of its energy from renewables by 2045. Still, it could be 5 to 10 years before wave energy technology can provide an affordable alternative to fossil fuels, experts say. For one thing, developers are still working to come up with the best design. Some buoys capture the up and down motion of the waves, while others exploit the side-to-side movement. Industry experts say the machine that uses all the ocean's movements is most likely to succeed. Also, the machinery has been able to withstand powerful storm, or has to be able to withstand powerful storms, the constant pounding of the seas, and the corrosive effects of salt water. The U.S. has set the goal of reducing carbon. Oh crap! I lost it. U.S. is
Carbon.
yeah. The U.S. has set a goal of reducing carbon emissions by 1/3 from 2005 levels by 2030. The many states are seeking to develop more renewable energy in the coming decades. Wave energy technology is at about the same stage as solar wind and industries were in the 1980s. Both received substantial government investment and tax credits that help them become energy sources cheap enough to compete with fossil fuels. But while the U.S. government and the military have put about $334 million into the marine energy resource over the last decade, Britain and the rest of Europe have invested more than $1 billion, according to the Marine Energy Council, a trade group. Though small in scale, the test project near Kanoa Bay represents the vanguard of U.S. wave energy development. It consists of two buoys anchored about a half-mile off the coast. One of them, the Azura, which stands 12 feet above the surface and extends 50 feet below, converts the wave's vertical and horizontal movements into an 18 kilowatts of electricity, enough for a dozen homes. The company working with the Navy, Northwest Energy Innovations of Portland, Oregon, plans a version that can generate at least 500 kilowatts, or enough to power hundreds of homes. The other buoy, a 50-foot wide donut-shaped device called the Lifesaver, was developed by a Norwegian company. The 3-foot tall ring is anchored to the ocean floor with cables. When the buoy is moved by the sea, the cables move, turning the wheels of a generator. It is producing an average of just 4 kilowatts, but is capable of generating more. Test sites run by other researchers are being planned or expanded in Oregon and California to take advantage of the powerful waves that pound in the West Coast. One of those projects, CalWave, run by California Polytechnic State University, hopes to provide utility-scale power to Vandenberg Air Force Base. So, I mean, really, it's really cool. I mean, in Hawaii, they got these experimental buoys that are literally just harnessing the power of being moved by waves, and it's creating electricity that they can use to power homes. I think that's really cool. I mean, what do you think, Aaron?
I think it's interesting. I mean, a lot of the sciences. I used to be interested in a lot of sciences, but I don't know. I find them kind of boring now.
I don't know, but like, I mean, really, if you think about it, so many of our alternative energy sources, it's just caused by natural movement. For example, with these buoys, they harness the power of waves and movement to generate electricity. Same story with wind turbines. Here it is, they're harnessing the power of movement from the wind to move these giant propellers, and the movement
Around and around and around.
yeah,
and
round and round and round like a windmill, and which is literally what they are. They're windmills. They take the movement generated by the wind into the blades, and it generates it into electricity, and it's simple. I mean, really, we're harnessing natural resources to create electricity instead of burning away these fossil fuels that are, first of all, going to be running scarce, and second of all, it's harming our environment. So really, I mean, this kind of stuff is the future. This is what we need to be doing. This is what we need to be working on. And here it is. The rest of the world's working on it. Like Britain and Europe, they've already spent a lot more money than we have on it, but they're getting places with it, and it's going to take them places. Meanwhile, we're still reliant on a dying resource.
Right. Yeah, I do think we need to get rid of gasoline as a whole. It's not good for our planet. It's not good for really it's not good in any situation.
Other countries, they're actually thinking about the future, and we're just thinking about today. I mean, here it is. We're fighting and being offended every day about who we think is what bonehead is going to run the country next. Yeah,
and that's kind of sad to me. I mean, this is one of the things, and something interesting that I was watching quite a while ago. Is a lot of people make fun of smart cars. Well, Chevy is coming out with it's kind of like a smart car, but it's, I don't know. I feel like a lot of smart cars are, girly, and they're little. They need to get up with something like an SUV or something. Well, Jay Leno, you know him in Cars. He's testing out for Chevy, or he was, an eco-friendly car, but it was like a crossover.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of stuff like that. Like for example, we got the Chevy Volt, which is an electric car. It's basically kind of like the Americanized version of the Toyota Prius. It hooks up to a charge station, and it gets charged electrically, and that's a good thing. Um, then we got our smart cars. I haven't really studied too far into smart cars, believe it or not, because I think of them more as clown cars, but here it is at the same time. They were one of the very things that backs the types of designs that we should be getting behind something small, energy efficient. And they're working on crossover vehicles too. I mean, you got your vehicles that are with the EcoBoost.
Right.
And these are all the correct steps to take. It's just we need to implement more of it. We need to get more of that going, and as time goes on, more and more vehicles are getting these EcoBoost options, and it's getting somewhere. And you know what? I think we also need to focus more on electric power instead of all, like gasoline and oil and all that.
Well, but see, you could also harness the power of solar power.
Exactly, like in Jurassic Park: The Lost World. I don't think they actually did it in the movies, but in the books, the vehicles they were using actually literally had like solar paneling across the hood and the roof of their vehicles with their RV and their SUVs and all that. The vehicles weren't even dependent on gasoline. They were fully solar powered. And I thought that was really, really cool. That was one of my favorite aspects of the book, how they utilized that. And it's like that's the kind of stuff we should be doing. We should be making solar power vehicles. That is literally the closest thing to an unlimited source of power that we have, our sun. And here it is. It's throwing us all this energy that's naturally comes from it. And I mean, we underutilize it. We really do.
Yeah. No, there's so many different ways. The problem that we have right now is we're trying to find a good way to harness a lot of the energy. They have the technology. They're trying to figure out, because if you think about how engines work, they're trying to combine what we've had with the new technology. Because there is a lot of problems. Yeah, we could say, oh yeah, let's just get rid of gasoline and buy a whole bunch of smart cars. Well, if we get rid of gasoline, you're gonna have to try to find a way to make a smart mower. That's push mowers, riding mowers, tractors, weed whackers.
We actually already have such things. My neighbor has a fully electric lawnmower. It literally just looks like a car battery. I mean, it's a little spiced up to look cool and futuristic and all that stuff. But
I was gonna say, but they look dumb. They don't look useful, and I haven't heard too many great things about them. I mean, I've used electric. My grandma bought electric everything, an electric chainsaw, an electric this, an electric that. And honestly, one of the problems that we have is like, okay, yeah, the push mower, it's got a battery, but a lot of the other electric utensils that we have don't have batteries. My mom had an electric weed whacker that I loved, but the gas one that I have, works so much better. It works faster. It works better. It can spin. And if the battery, one of the other things is you can carry a gas can around and refill it, but how many batteries are you going to be able to carry around?
That's true. And I mean, you can't. You can't instantly refill a battery.
Well, and there's these problems that they're trying to find a fix to, and they're trying to get. I don't know if that'll ever catch on. I hope it does, for the sake of.
Well, the thing is, whether or not it's gonna now is rather. Well, I'm not gonna say it's irrelevant, but the thing is, it's gonna have to catch on at some point because, like I said, our fossil fuels, they are going to run out at some point. And there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, even if we stop using them today, it's still, I mean, it takes millions of years for resources like that to even, get build created. Up. Yeah, build up. I mean, so really, I mean, at this point, what we have is what we have, and we're obviously still using it. We're using it heavily, and we're not doing much about it right now.
Well, and there are companies that are trying to figure out, things that'll make them appealing. And right now they're not doing so well, but they'll keep going. They'll find a way that everybody
It'll pick up.
it'll pick up at some point.
Like I said, my neighbor, he's got this lawnmower, and it's it's like just a little battery one. But you know what? It's great. He loves it. It gets the job done. And the thing about it is, you can barely hear the thing. I mean, the only part of it that you can actually hear is the blade spinning inside when he's cutting the grass, which is actually, I think it's pretty cool.
No, it's a cool concept. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying because I mow lawns and quite a bit, and I just know from experience what I like and what I've used. And
it's true. Everybody's got different tastes as well.
Yep. So what's this I see about a new fossil?
Well, speaking of fossils.
Well, you're speaking of fossil fuels, and this is a fossil of an animal, but anyway, continue.
Well, a routine dig in northeastern North Dakota may have unearthed an entirely new species of ancient marine reptile that roamed underwater while dinosaurs walked the earth. Paleontologists with the North Dakota Geological Survey are inching closer to classifying rare skull bones discovered last month during a public dig in the Pembina Gorge, about 100 miles northwest of Grand Forks. The bones were found in rock formed about 80 million years ago, back when this part of North Dakota was covered in shallow ocean. Paleontologist Clint Boyd found the bones while digging into rock. His team had already fully excavated, or so they thought, the previous summer. As I was brushing the back of the wall of the quarry where the other bones had come from, a little bit of the back wall caved, and this bone fell right into my lap, Boyd said. We could tell right away as soon as we pulled it out that it was not from the same animal we've seen elsewhere in the state. The question became what type it could be. Boyd's team is confident the bones belong to a mosasaur, a giant marine reptile known to exist in North Dakota during the dinosaur age, but they do not resemble the bones of the one species of mosasaur previously identified in the state. The difference is obvious after comparing the animal's quadrate, an important jawbone that varies from species to species, with that of the state's previously known mosasaur. The paleontologists were able to put these side by side, and they're drastically different. It's not even close. Now, the team is working to figure out whether the bones match a mosasaur species native to another region, or whether they found an entirely new creature. The mosasaur was an ancient underwater reptile that, at its longest, could span to be 50 feet, the length of a school bus. Its closest living relative is the Komodo dragon, a large lizard found in Indonesia. Paleontologists at the North Dakota Geological Survey now have a major task, meticulously cleaning the skull bones and comparing them with published descriptions of all known mosasaur species that could be possible matches. At the moment, the team has narrowed its list of potential matches to 5 after starting with 30. They've had help from experts who specialize in giant prehistoric reptiles who swam the seas. The team expects to classify the bones definitively by the spring of 2017.
Now, this is interesting.
This is another thing that I always thought was really cool. As kids, I mean, I can't think of a kid I've ever met who was like, oh, no, dinosaurs, oh, they're stupid.
Right.
And, dinosaurs have always been just super cool. And I remember...
Well, I mean, look at Land Before Time. It's one of the most popular,
Land Before Time was amazing. And, you also got movies like Jurassic Park, which are like instant classics.
And Jurassic World.
Which was amazing. And you know what? I have to say, as a kid, there was actually a documentary that I even loved. It was called Walking with Dinosaurs. And they made a new one called Walking with Dinosaurs, but I haven't watched it, and I'm pretty sure it's totally different. But literally, it was this documentary was so long. It was probably like 3 hours per tape on VHS, and it was a 2-tape set. So it was literally 6 hours just going through the entire, eras of, prehistoric animals. It talked about the Tyrannosaur, it talked about the Mosasaurs, it talked about pterodactyls, all that, and literally it was like 6 hours worth of it, and I would probably...
My favorite is the T-Rex.
The T-Rex it's definitely like...
He's got a big head and little arms.
But, it's, as a kid growing up, I loved dinosaurs. Probably more than most kids. And, it's even so, like, where it's like, I absolutely loved a documentary. Kids usually don't care for documentaries.
I don't like documentaries, even as an adult.
But man, I wish I could find it. Even though it's VHS, I would love to watch it again because it was. I probably watched that documentary at least 20 different times, and it was like literally 6 hours worth of information. It was a mindful, but I mean, discovering new species like this it's cool. It's here. It is. We're discovering more about our planet's past. Personally, I didn't even know that we had 30 different variants or different strains or species of mosasaur. I mean, a mosasaur. It was kind of like a giant prehistoric, kind of like a cross between like an alligator and a Komodo dragon. I mean, it was really long, like I said, 50 feet, like about the size of a school bus, and they actually talked about it in that documentary I was just talking about. There's this one scene where there's like an Allosaurus or something. It's just drinking some water over by an ocean, and out of nowhere, this mosasaur, huge, like dwarfing this dinosaur in size, just comes up and just bites it right in half. And this thing had just flew like 20 feet in the air, and it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And really, it's like ever since I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, it's like dinosaurs weren't just on the land. There was some crazy stuff in our oceans too. And even today, there's some crazy stuff in our oceans.
Yeah. I think it's cool that we're still discovering things about, the history of our planet before we were here. I don't know if we'll ever know the complete history of exactly what happened or how many species there were, things like that. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's fascinating to me, fossils and dinosaurs. I've always, like you said, as a kid, who didn't like to go to the, museum when they had the dinosaur exhibit and watch all the giant dinosaurs or see the giant skeleton that they had, or
Exactly.
dig in a sandbox for fake fossils that they put in there, things like that. It was something fun to do. Dinosaurs were very interesting. I mean, they still are. It's actually kind of funny because I saw this little animation, and it says, what were the dinosaurs with the really long necks and kind of the big bodies?
Oh, there was a lot. There was the Brontosaurus.
That's the one, the Brontosaurus. So it showed an elephant and a snake.
Oh my god,
and the
I saw that.
snake ate the elephant, and then when it got done, it looked like a Brontosaurus Rex.
Because the elephant like stretched out of shape inside the snake.
Yeah,
I saw that.
but yet
was
the
really
elephant had like his trunk up, kind of like the neck of a
funny.
Brontosaurus. So it was just something really funny, but it made me think about the movie Land Before Time and things like that, and dinosaurs. And I've always been fascinated with dinosaurs. So I think it's really cool that they're, still discovering stuff from an era that we weren't even around.
Exactly, and even now today, there's so little that we know about our planet. They say that we know more about space than we do our own oceans. And I think it's the same that holds true with our rainforest. There's species that have already unfortunately gone extinct that we haven't even discovered yet because of deforestation.
Right.
And really, I mean, that's another thing that's a real shame. But it's.
I was gonna say, I think we need to spend as much time searching our planet and discovering our planet as we do discovering anything else.
Because we have some truly amazing, breathtaking mysteries out in our world. I mean, down to the deepest depths and deep inside our most vast rainforests. And I mean, really, yeah, it's a dangerous world, all right, and you got to be careful. But there is so much out there for us to discover, and we don't even realize it. But it really is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something. I think it's something that's intriguing because it's about the history of our planet. You hear all this about space and planets, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, But the planet that we live on, the history behind it, I think it's fascinating that when we find out something new about it. So I think that's really cool.
Definitely. And you know what? I'm hoping that I get to read more about this at some point because I mean, it's cool. I always enjoy reading about a new discovery of a new species, even if it's already extinct.
Right.
But either way, enough about that. I'm going to take us right into our next topic.
Which is also creatures.
Yes, it is. Very, very fun creatures.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Pokemon Go players are now getting a new nudge to walk more. Trainers can now choose a buddy Pokemon to join them on their adventures in the widely popular game. In the process, the more they walk, the more opportunities they have to earn candy to help their chosen pal level up.
This is really cool. I've already got my buddy. It's my Charmander.
Hmm.
I've earned quite a few candies.
Same
Um,
here. I've got
the,
a.
the the only thing the only complaint I have is I wish that when it showed you walking,
You wish it showed the Pokemon next to you, like
yes, you
Pikachu.
wish it would show the Pokemon walking next to you, kind of like Pikachu used to
I'll admit
in the show.
when I heard about this feature in the update, I was really excited because I figured something like that was going to happen too. I was a little sad when I didn't see that, and it works a little differently than I thought. I'll talk about more about it in just a second, but I'm gonna continue with the story for a moment. But trainers will have to choose wisely, though. A good buddy isn't necessarily your favorite Pokemon or the cutest one. The buddy system is ideal for Pokemon that may be a few candies short of evolving. Every good Pokemon trainer knows that not all Pokemon are created equal, so there will be different distance requirement for each buddy will have to be walked in order to earn candies. Buddy Pokemon will appear alongside your trainer avatar on the profile screen, adding helpful bonuses such as awarding candy for walking together. You'll also have the ability to change your buddy Pokemon at any time. The update encourages more walking and exploring, which is how trainers capture Pokemon. It also cuts out what could be a frustrating factor for some players by giving them the chance to level up their buddy to a rare Pokemon they might not otherwise have had the luck finding in the wild. With the updated app, trainers can choose their buddy Pokemon by clicking on their avatar photo, opening the menu, and choosing the buddy option, which will be located between Journal and Customize. Players can always change their buddy Pokemon, however, they'll lose any walking progress they've made with their buddy Pokemon. So the ideal time is to make the switch right after the Pokemon has found candy. Also, Pokemon Go Plus, the $35 wearable wrist attachment, was also released Friday, alerting users of nearby Pokemon even when they don't have their smartphones at the ready. So I'm pretty excited about a lot of this. I personally, my buddy Pokemon is my Dratini. It's got it's got the ideal stats that I'm looking for, and I have him walking with me. The only thing that really kind of is unfortunate about it is that it takes a lot of distance to get a candy for him. He's 5 kilometers, and that gets you like one candy. I think I heard a rumor that the more you walk with your Pokemon, the chances of getting more than one candy increases. I'm not sure about that yet. I haven't experienced it, but I'm hoping that's the case. But either way, I'm really enjoying the update so far. I'm probably, as soon as I get paid again, I'm probably going to go up and get myself the Plus attachment because I want to be able to, I'm hoping it's a pedometer feature where basically instead of just using your GPS, it also counts your steps. That's what I'm really hoping for. That way,
Why?
that way you can hatch your eggs faster.
Well, either way, what it does is it basically it knows you're walking.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if it uses your GPS.
Well, the thing is, too, with the Pokemon Go Plus, it's going to be like playing the game without having it open on your phone. I mean, even if your
No,
phone's...
you have to have it open on your phone. You just
do?
don't have to have the screen turned on.
Oh. Well, I was unaware of that, but now I know.
I know somebody who actually bought the Pokemon Go Plus, and it's actually kind of cool. It looks like a little Pokeball.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get
it's like it's like a Pokeball mixed with a GPS logo.
Well, no, it looks like a Pokeball.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes, it's got a clip on the back. If you want the wristband part, which I think kind of looks weird, you've got to take off some screws and put the wristband on. You got to take the clip off and put the wristband on. But it can clip on anywhere, which is a cool feature that I thought was kind of cool because I thought it was originally a bracelet. And I'm like, I'm running out of arms. I got a smartwatch. I've got a bracelet.
Right.
I don't need anything else. So the fact that it'll clip is kind of cool. And it probably does use a GPS feature, but like you and I, if we're walking around school, it shows that we're walking.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it really matter?
Right.
Or like when I go for a walk with my girlfriend and my dog, I can walk and not have to worry about having my phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another thing though too.
But it also when there's a Pokemon nearby,
Mm-hmm.
it'll vibrate and you can catch them using that.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, as long as it's counting distance while my phone screen is off, that's what matters to me. I want to be able to just walk, not have to worry about draining the battery on my phone, and just be able to cover that distance, you know?
Yeah, like right now you got to keep your phone screen on in order for it to count.
Mm-hmm.
This one, you connect it, you open up Pokemon Go, you connect it, and you all you got to do is just kind of throw it into, or you throw it in your pocket or whatever, and go about your business.
Mm-hmm. Either way, I'm really looking forward to it, though. I'm probably gonna, I don't know, probably the next time I drive by a GameStop, I'm probably gonna get it, and then I'm probably gonna invest a little bit of money into the game, get myself some incubators too. That way I can get some eggs going, you know.
See, I don't like buying stuff from games.
Me neither. But you know, it's at the same time, it's just like as you level up, you'll notice as you get level up, it gets a lot harder because it takes more experience to level up. Personally, when I got into Pokemon Go, and I still haven't done it, I swore that I wasn't gonna spend any money on it, and I still haven't. But you know, the more it goes on, the more difficult it gets to level up because it takes more experience. And the more I'm toying around with the idea of maybe, hey, let's spend a couple bucks, get some incense or some lucky eggs, because the incense will help you find new Pokemon. The lucky eggs double your experience. You know, if you get some more incubators, you can incubate more eggs. And that's another reason
Right.
why that's another reason why I want the plus attachment. That way you can, you know, cover distance without your phone being, you know, on, or without your screen being on, so you can literally just walk around. That's another reason why I'm kind of hoping for it to be more of a pedometer than a GPS tracker, because that way it'll count steps and it'll count the distance more accurately through the pedometer instead of, you know, say for example, if you had your Pokemon Go screen on the entire day and you were just walking around your house all day, you might get maybe like 0.2 kilometers on your egg, like out of the way, as opposed to if you would have done that same amount of walking outside, covering more distance, you would get a lot more done on that. With a pedometer function, you'd be covering the same distance either way.
Right.
So that's why I'm hoping it's more of a pedometer.
It's
style
probably
thing.
going to be GPS located.
It probably is, but I'm hoping it's going to be a pedometer based thing.
Why don't you look it up?
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to research it before I buy it.
I was going to say the specs on it are probably I'm going to buy it regardless because I know it works. I know how well it works.
Well, me too. I just want to know exactly what I'm buying too before I buy it.
Well, then look it up.
Well, then fine. Maybe I will.
Either way, so far the updates, Mark and I feel have come to the conclusion that we kind of like where the update has gone. I don't really understand the point of like appraising your Pokemon.
Oh, you know what? The thing is, you're probably not gonna really get into appraising your Pokemon until you're a little like leveled up more. You start encountering more.
But what does it do?
Basically, appraising it shows you the power, how to put it, the base power of your Pokemon. For example,
See, I feel like, and I know you've brought this up in past episodes. I feel like when like say, okay, I've got a Pidgeotto.
hmm
If I trade it to the professor, I feel like I should get more than just one.
yes, I think that.
But I feel like if you like the appraisal feature should be okay. Well, what are its powers, and based on that, this is how many,
that'd be cool too. Like, I mean,
how many candies you can get from the professor for having it this, and kind of show you what level of the version of your Pokemon you need to have, or what power to get how many. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would be nice. Like if you had a Pokemon that was really good and you actually did decide to part with it, you'd get more for it.
Right.
That'd be nice because it would be like, let me put it this way. I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. Imagine this. You have two of a car. Exact same car, except one of them has a more powerful engine and all the bells and whistles, while the other one is the weakest engine with the bare basics. But they're the exact same car. That's kind of like how it is with the appraisal feature. It's like some Pokemon are going to be that, not very powerful, just the basics, it's that Pokemon, but it's not much of a Pokemon. Meanwhile, you're going to have your other Pokemon that's still the same Pokemon, except that is just naturally better. It has better stats, it's more powerful, it has better attack, better defense, better HP. It's just better. It's more powerful. It has better stats. I mean, like for example, I mean each gym leader has different descriptions for their Pokemon, but like for example, I'm Team Instinct, and you know the classifications are you know you'll have a Pokemon that could either you know improve as far as battling goes, or you'll have a Pokemon that's pretty decent, or the next one is your Pokemon is really strong, or the best one is your Pokemon can really battle with the best of them. Those are the descriptions for Team Instinct's boss as far as the appraisals go. So basically at this point, you know, I'm hunting Pokemon that have good stats. So, I mean, as far as evolving goes, I'll only evolve Pokemon that are either really strong or can battle with the best of them. Because those are the Pokemon that are going to be worth keeping because they have the better stats.
See,
Is it kind of making sense?
Yeah, but I feel like if you got more candies, you would kind of, no matter what the stats, you would kind of raise them up because then that way you could trade them for more candies.
Here's the thing too with that. This is where the CP factors into it. Yeah, it's like you'll have. Let me put it this way. Say you again with the stats. If you had a Pokemon that was maybe like 800 CP, but it had a really bad appraisal, and then you have the same Pokemon that was only 700 CP and it had a really great appraisal. That 700 CP of the same exact Pokemon could probably beat the 800 CP of that Pokemon because the stats would be better.
Okay.
So
I'm thinking I understand.
It takes a little getting used to, but as you play the game more, it'll start making sense. I had a better understanding of it going in because I played the games too, and I mean like I grew up with Pokemon.
Me too.
I'm not gonna lie, like I quit playing it for a while because some of the designs got ridiculous with the later generations.
Yep.
But you know, then I saw like the game started getting really cool again, so I got back into it, and there was a lot for me to learn again because like they added all these new mechanics in. A lot of it having to do with move sets and stats and all that. And really, it's like when I got back into it, I realized that they have gone and made a science out of Pokemon.
Nice.
And you know, at first with Pokemon Go, it seemed pretty simple like that too, until they added the appraisal, which didn't really change the mechanics of the game. It just made the mechanics of the game more accessible to us, so we can actually understand how good a Pokemon is now.
Right.
So really, it's just giving us more power and more ability to read into it, so we can determine what we want in our Pokemon. And that's why I have all kinds of charts. I have CP charts, I have move charts, I have stat charts, all kinds of charts on my phone that I screenshotted off the internet and all that stuff that help me to determine what kind of stuff to look out for in Pokemon. So really, it's like I said, it really is a science, and as you look into it, the more you're going to realize it. But the more you play it, the more you're going to get used to it. The more you're going to realize how it works, and the more you'll know what to look out for. It's just like fixing a car, you know. It's like when you get an oil change, the first time you do an oil change, it's not going to make any sense to you. But as you do it more, you get used to it. So that's kind of how it is. And, like I said, you just got to get used to it. It takes some practice. It takes some looking into, but it's like you'll get there. And now it's like, I'm starting to get some good Pokemon going, some ones with good stats, good moves. And, I mark them in the game. I'll mark them a favorite. That way I know that they're one of the good ones, and that I could, I'll power them up. And I'll only power up the good ones, or I'll only evolve the good ones. But at the same time, some Pokemon are really hard to get a hold of a good one. Like Magikarp, I have enough candies to evolve a Magikarp, but I can't find a Magikarp that I want to spend 400 candies to evolve, because I want to get one that has the absolute perfect stats if I'm going to spend 400 candies on it,
Yeah, I understand.
And I'm surprised that I haven't found one with amazing stats in that entire time. Actually, you know what, I probably have, but it was before the time of the appraisals, so I haven't really been able to find a decent Magikarp since the appraisal feature came out. But I probably had one at one point, but I didn't. I probably released it because it wasn't the size I wanted or something, or it wasn't the right CP. The thing is, the CP, it's good to have a Pokemon with high CP, but the stats are more important. I mean, the thing is, the CP, you can power up that Pokemon to that CP with in time. But the stats stay the same. If a Pokemon has good stats to start with, it's going to stay having good stats. If a Pokemon has bad stats to start with, it's going to stay having bad stats. The CP, it doesn't matter. You can power up any Pokemon and it can have the max CP. But if it has bad stats, it's not going to be as good as the one powered up with the good stats.
See, and I'm the one that's just sitting over here that as long as I get one version of that thing, I'm happy. I want to try to catch them all. I
That's
don't
how
care
it
what
is.
their
That,
stats are.
that that's how it is when you start too. And as you're getting in the game, that's how it is. You know, it's you want to have one of everything, and then after that, you're gonna start seeing it. And you know, as you level up too, you're gonna start seeing rare Pokemon too. So I just want to throw that out there. I mean, like once I hit 24, I didn't encounter a single Snorlax until I hit like level 23 or 24, and now I've encountered like 4 of them in the past 3 weeks. So as you level up, you're gonna start encountering more, you know, rare Pokemon as well.
Right.
So really, like I said, the game it gets more involved and it gets harder to level up as you get further into it. But at the same time, a lot of this stuff gets better too. You'll start encountering more powerful and more rare Pokemon.
Right.
But that's kind of it for, you know, the Pokemon bit. You know, we got this buddy system now. We got the Pokemon Go Plus attachment out there now that's really starting to mold into what Niantic wants it to be. They're going to be releasing the trading feature in a month.
I'm excited
in
for
a
the
few
trading
months' time.
feature. I really am.
And I'll be sure to help you out, man, too.
I was gonna say
because
because there's Pokemon that I don't have that other people have. Like there was the
and
other
they're just
day.
and they're just transferring them because they already have plenty of it.
Right, and it's like the other day. I was at school and there was a Jigglypuff, and I was out of Pokeballs, and I really wanted a Jigglypuff.
Meanwhile,
So I
have
ran
plenty of
over to the
Jigglypuff.
Pokestop, got Pokeballs, and by the time I got back, it was gone. Luckily, it popped back up again, and I caught it.
Well, there you go.
But I was almost afraid that I wasn't going to be able to get the Pokestop, or get the Jigglypuff. So
Mhm.
that was just kind of a.
Mhm.
But it's things like that. Like if I hadn't have caught it, and our friend who was the one that found him,
Mhm.
he already had one, so he's like, oh, I'm just going to trade him for a candy. I'm like, well, I wish we could trade, because then he could have just traded me his, and I wouldn't have had to worry about it.
Right. Either way, though, but they'll be releasing trading sometime in the next few months. They'll be releasing trainer battles shortly after that. I heard they're going to be releasing Pokemon centers at some point. And I know, like I said, they're going to be releasing Generation 2 Pokemon probably sometime around next summer, you know, to reinvigorate the fan base and get the game boosted up again. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we're going to keep updated because I'm heavily into it. And I know Aaron's getting into it too, and a lot of people are into it. It's Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I'm getting into it pretty big, but I'm really excited for some of the new features to come.
Mhm. But either way, though, I think on that note, I'm gonna kind of wrap it up on the Pokemon Go topic, and I'll pass it over to you for Movie Bandits Monday, Aaron.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Everybody, give him a hand for his multiverse, will you? Thank you. I don't have my clap track up. Anyway, on with Movie Madness Monday. So, I am so devastated that I missed one of the important days of the year. You know what day that was?
What day is it? It
was Batman Day.
Oh my God, we missed There's a Batman Day?
There's a Batman Day. Batman Day is September 17th. It marks this year. It marked the 75th anniversary of Batman. So Batman was created on September 17th, 75 years ago. Which that's kind of cool. I'm kind of sad that I missed it. I would have walked around, you know, with like a Batman shirt. I got a Batman shirt I would have wore and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. Well, to mark this event, I saw so many articles of so many people doing so many different things. One of which is the new Lego Batman movie that's coming out. They released a new Batman poster.
Really?
They released a new poster for the movie in honor of Batman Day. Also in honor of Batman Day, and this is going to throw Mark off because I'm skipping around a little bit. I don't know who's doing it, but do you remember who's doing Justice League?
You know, I'm not entirely sure what company.
Well, the company that's doing Justice League released, in honor of Batman Day, they released a first look at J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon for the Justice League. For those of you that don't know, J.K. Simmons is the guy. He played a doctor in Law and Order. He played on Juno as Mac McGuff. He played in Kim Possible, did some voice work there. He also played J. Jonah Jameson from the original Spider-Man movies.
Which character was that?
He was the guy in charge of the newspaper.
Oh, and he's gonna be Commissioner Gordon.
He's gonna be Commissioner Gordon.
Oh my God!
And then here's the real kicker, and I didn't even know this. this same actor played in the original Justice League. Now, he didn't play as Commissioner Gordon or any kind of important part like that. He played, a whole bunch of random voices. But still, he played in the kind of the Justice League that got me into a lot of the superheroes. Because before, I liked Batman, but it's the one that kind of made Green Lantern my favorite superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like Batman too and Super. So that's the Justice League I really wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be happy with just a Justice League movie. But either way, so I was really excited to see that he was playing in that. But anyway, in honor of Batman Day, they released a first look at who he is as Commissioner Gordon. And he was quoted saying, "People in my generation remember Commissioner Gordon as a jolly, intellectual Santa Claus type. I think over the years, the comics, there's definitely much more of a badass side of him." He told this to the Entertainment Weekly, because that's where I pulled this from. One thing is that is interesting to me is investigating, hopefully a little bit more of the badass side. You're living in a universe where it's pretty much it's tough to be a badass compared to somebody like Batman. But in the universe of non-superheroes, like the idea of a Commissioner Gordon, as that guy can take care of himself. A guy, that real partner to Batman, not just the guy that turns his bat signal on and goes, "Help, help, Batman."
Right.
So that's kind of it's kind of funny, because if you think about it, especially in the old Justice League, in the animated series and stuff like that, it was kind of like, "Help, help, Batman." In the the animated series, it was like he was a damsel in distress, and he would just, flip on the signal, and then Batman would come in and save the day. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually started watching Justice League on Netflix now too.
Did you?
Yep, I'm up.
What are you
to,
thinking?
It's really good. I'm up to which one?
I don't even know where I'm at.
I'm at the episode where Wonder Woman's one of the other Amazon
Yes,
women.
It's a great episode,
Yep,
where one of the other
she created
she wasn't even an Athenian.
Right. And
she was adopted.
And she was had this gang, and they were committing crimes and all that stuff.
Yep.
And she was like, "I dare the Justice League to come find me."
And they did.
Mm-hmm. And that's the episode I just watched. And you know what?
It's really good.
And
really good.
I kind of like the way they format it too. Like they do, every episode, it's like a 2-part kind of deal.
Right. Almost every episode is a 2-parter.
Mm-hmm.
But one cool part about it is the Justice League isn't not. You almost never get an episode where all the members are there, which is kind of accurate, because the Flash could be off. There's got to be somebody protecting, Gotham City and Metropolis and the world and things like that. So, they'll be sitting out watching for the world, and they could be doing their personal life. I mean, because Bruce Wayne is, he's got a personal life of his own, and actually, in the animated series, it was said that he was really he's kind of not a part of the actual Justice League.
Yeah,
he just kind of drops in.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of him in the show so far.
See, and you don't. He drops in every once in a while when, you kind of cross paths with, his animated series, which surprised me, because I thought as a kid he was part of the Justice League. But you'll get episodes with, him, Superman, Wonder Woman, and maybe the Green Lantern.
Right.
Or you'll get other episodes with Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and the Flash.
Or sometimes
you'll have Hawkgirl and Batman and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know what kind of combination of superheroes you're going to get.
Yeah, it's always
different. But it's always a great combination.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I'm just really excited for him to be Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, his attitude, his persona is just I would love to see him play something like that, because
he's a great actor overall. I mean,
mm-hmm.
he went from playing a psychiatrist in Law and Order to playing Kim Possible, doing some voice work for that,
mm-hmm.
doing Justice League. Then he went to Juno.
I thought it was funny when he was the guy for the newspaper place in Spider-Man.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. I thought he was really funny as that character. It's just always trying to paint Spider-Man like the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's I want his pictures, and I want it on my desk, and I want him to look like a bad guy.
Well, and that's, I think he's going to try to use that persona as that's probably what he's gonna do for Commissioner Gordon. Now here's a fun fact. Did you know that he plays in the it's not State, I think it's State Farm, the State Farm commercials?
You know what? I think I have seen him in one of those commercials. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
He's in a whole bunch of them. It's almost like he's giving a tour every time. He's like the tour guide, and he's like, "Yep, we cover that," and like there's all this obnoxious scenarios.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
But he's in that too, and it's really funny because if you look at his pictures, when he played JJ from Spider-Man, he had a mustache. He had kind of like a army.
Like an army haircut. He was like he almost had like a salt and pepper sergeant kind of to him.
Right. Now you look at him and now his head's shaven. He's you never know how you're gonna catch this dude.
Exactly. Definitely not.
But it's really cool that actors and actresses that like cut their hair for roles or dye their hair, whatever. Those are the people that are really good because they're they're so invested in their career and they have so much fun doing it that they don't care about how they look for red carpet events and things like that. They want to have fun doing the movie that they're working on. And it's something that they enjoy to do. Anyway, so I'm excited to see him as Commissioner Gordon. I think he'll make a really good. I think he can strive for what the kind of Commissioner Gordon he's going for. Because like you said, Commissioner Gordon, instead of just turning on the back signal and going help, 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 give him a little bit more of a personality.
And you know what? This is definitely gonna help him, establish more of a, we don't exactly like always need Batman. We can take care of ourselves kind of character.
Right.
And I think that's going to be good. I mean, they kind of first established a character, Commissioner Gordon, similar to that with The Dark Knight. He was Commissioner Gordon, like they kind of played him a little less helpless, but he still needed a lot of Batman.
Well, I was going to say he wasn't helpless, but I think didn't they portray it like he knew who Batman really was?
Almost.
And
it almost seemed like it.
Yeah, and it was one of those things like I really loved that Commissioner Gordon because he wasn't somebody he wasn't like always a damsel in distress, but he's also like he knew the fact that Two-Face was what's his name?
Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent was Two-Face, and that all the things that he had done and he kept that a secret, and I think that really played off really well in the rest of the movies because you had this commissioner who. With all the things he's seen, he's not this, he's not as helpless as he was. He tries to get to the bottom of things, but if he needs help from Batman, he's not afraid to ask.
Right.
He'll turn on the bat signal if he needs to, but he does a little bit of work first before he doesn't just jump, oh no, there's a bad guy. Batman, come save me.
Right.
No, he does some investigating. He'll go with Batman and invest. Like, it's just like, it's kind of like a teamwork. And I like how he said, it's kind of like Batman's true partner because Commissioner Gordon's always the one that's kind of like keeping a heads up, for Batman when there is something going wrong, and he'll check into it. And if it's just something that they can handle, well, good. But if it's something that's way out of their league, he can turn on the bat signal and
be like, "Yo, Batsy."
Yeah, be like, "Hey, we need some help over here." And that's something that I think I'm really excited for his version of. Commissioner Gordon. So I think that's really cool.
Definitely. I'm excited to see that. Really, even apart from that, I'm really excited to see the new Justice League. I know you really don't like Aquaman.
I hate Aquaman.
But you know what? I mean, I can kind of understand why. Like in the early Justice League, he's just kind of like, he doesn't really even play much of a part. But,
but you even saw him in the original Justice League, and they tried to make him look like this big, bad guy, and like he looks cool, but honestly, and I finally got some support. I don't remember who it was, like or what episode it was. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't Logan because he was fighting with you. Anyway.
No, it was Justin, wasn't it?
Might have been. Anyway. I just don't see the point in Aquaman. He's literally his powers are only useful in water.
Well, he's the one who ended up with a hook on his hand, right?
Yep, he cut off his hand.
Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of pretty cool.
No, that was really. Don't get me wrong. He's a cool character. I just don't believe that he's a superhero. I believe that he is the leader of Atlantis, and I believe he could be really, he could be awesome. But I just don't see him as much of a superhero.
I suppose I could see that. I'm either way. I'm still looking forward to seeing it. I mean, especially like the actor that they have playing him in Justice League coming up. He's played other roles before too that kind of relate to the role in a way. I remember seeing they did like a 3-stage picture of him, like we're doing one role, doing another role, and then showing him as Aquaman, and they almost portrayed it almost like a Pokemon evolution, and I thought it was really funny. But I'll have to look that up and show you later. But it was just a funny little bit. But either way though, like I'm still like I'm hoping they do better than what they did with Batman versus Superman.
I still haven't seen that, and I had such high hopes for that.
It's such a letdown. I mean, really, like the fight scenes are good, except that like there's hardly any fight scene. Like for a longer movie, it's just not enough action.
I'm just curious. Well, mostly my curiosity was what they filmed, because they filmed a lot of it in East Lansing. And I'm curious if they used any of that footage. If they did, what footage is it? Like, what part of the movie? Where they're supposed to be? That kind of stuff. Because it was actually filmed on MSU's campus.
I didn't even know that.
Yep, I was around when they were filming it, and there were students always, because they had this giant section of the MSU campus that was blocked off that included the museum. It was an art gallery. Like art gallery museum, and it's really cool looking. It's very abstract building.
I don't remember the whole entire movie, but I think there might have been some kind of art gallery in it.
Yep, and that was probably where it was filmed. Anyway, that's kind of why I really want to see it. But I was really excited for Ben Affleck as Batman, and
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. He actually, at first I was really skeptical of it, but he didn't do bad. He actually did
good.
He
I mean,
did
I knew the guy playing Superman wouldn't do that good, because Man of Steel was just I didn't even see it. I wouldn't see it because I heard of how bad it was from so many people.
It was not good.
If there wasn't such a high volume of people that said it wasn't good. Now, Batman v Superman, that is one that I'm going to see. No, I didn't go out and see it in theaters because after I heard how bad it was, I'm like, that's not going to be one that I'm going to pay to go and see.
I still wish they would have kept Christian Bale for it though.
They can't do that. His Batman ended the story.
I know. He was a really good Batman though.
He was an awesome Batman.
I really liked him as Batman.
But I think that Ben Affleck can do just as good of a job. I just feel like he was given a bad movie.
Maybe.
It was a bad script and a bad writing.
Don't get me wrong, Batman was still my favorite character in Batman vs Superman. So
but
he did a good job.
I was gonna say, in this Justice League movie, this has to be a home run, because if it's not, I feel like they're gonna drop all the DC movies. I don't feel like there'll be too many DC movies for a while because they're on such a bad streak.
Yeah, I mean, Man of Steel was not very good, and they didn't even do a Batman movie, and they just
They're going to.
Oh, okay, good.
They're gonna do a standalone Batman movie with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but either way though, like all of DC's movies, they're just getting bad reviews. Suicide Squad, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel.
I heard Suicide Squad wasn't that bad. I heard it was really good.
It got really bad reviews, but honestly, I really enjoyed it. I liked it, and Batman's parts in it. Like, I mean, he had some solid parts in it. And I think my favorite villain, I guess to say, in Suicide Squad was definitely Will Smith's character, Deadshot. He was definitely my favorite character. I thought he was awesome.
Well, and isn't he returning in... No.
I hope so.
He's returning in Justice League, right?
I really hope so. But either that or they're going to do a sequel to it or something. I don't know what they're going to do with it yet. But they definitely left Suicide Squad with room for some other project after that. But it's like watching the cartoon too. It's like, there was a couple episodes that had Deadshot, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's Deadshot right there. He's my dude. Deadshot's awesome.
Speaking of Dead, one of the new movies that's about to come out is Deadpool 2.
Oh, okay. I was looking at this other story here, and I was about to say you are not about to use that as a transition.
Not at all. Not at all. Um,
Anyways, I mean, you see what I'm
I'm
talking
jumping
about.
around. I'm throwing you off.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us into our topic. I'm being really mean over here because we kind of got like a list of what we're gonna do, and I'm jumping around all over. So
It's okay.
anyway, no. So some movies that are gonna be coming up in 2017. One of which is Deadpool, which I'm really excited for.
I am as well. I didn't even know that. I mean, I figured they could do a sequel if they wanted to.
They
but
were
it was,
going to. It wasn't could they or would they.
You
They
know
were
what?
going
Now I
to.
remember how it ended. Yep.
They made
Definitely.
so much. One, they made so much money on that movie, and it was so popular that the studio would have to make another one. But two, the way they ended it, they would still have to make another one.
Yeah. Plus, they did that whole little Ferris Bueller bit after the credits.
I missed that.
It was basically like, you know how Ferris Bueller ends?
Yeah,
And
he's like, why are you still here?
Yeah, go. You know, they kind of did that with Deadpool.
That's kind of cool.
It was funny. And I
Um,
feel like there was even a little
So,
Easter egg in there or something. I don't
so it
remember.
seems like 2017 is going to be a lot of remakes and sequels.
Yes, definitely.
Because
I'm
there's
looking
going to
at
be a
this
Pitch
list.
Perfect 3, which I haven't even seen 2.
I haven't seen any of the
I
Pitch
saw
Perfects.
1. I haven't seen 2. And there's going to be a 3. They're redoing Jumanji, which I heard that I've got really high hopes for this movie actually because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a remake of the movie. It seems like it's going to be a sequel of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got different characters, so it's got Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it, and I don't know. He's playing a different character. It's a character that hasn't even been introduced yet into the Jumanji. So I feel like this would be like a cool Jumanji 2. And it's just I feel like it'll be done pretty well. The Rock has a pretty good track record with movies. I mean, look at Central Intelligence. That movie was so funny.
I did not see it, but he did a heck of a time he did a heck of a job for Fast and Furious, which is also on this list.
Yes, Fast 8 is coming out in 2017.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious. I am very curious to see what they are going to do with it.
Right. Well, I've got some information on that a little bit later.
All right.
This is also in 2017. We're going to see the Beauty and the Beast that we've all been waiting for.
Beauty and the Beast. That's right. Aren't they doing like
They're doing a live action Beauty and the Beast.
How's that supposed to work?
Oh, some of the I've seen some of the art for what it's going to look like, and Lumiere Lumiere was the candlestick, and Clogsworth. If you look at it looks like a real candlestick and like a little tiny clock.
So
It looks really cool.
So they actually are gonna be. They're doing a pretty good job.
Oh, it looks like it's going to be fantastic. Well, they also have the guy who did the play Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Doesn't ring a bell, but continue.
It should. Okay. The play Hamilton was it's about Alexander Hamilton, who was, I'm pretty sure he was a president. But it's taken this it's a play about when he was around and things that happened, and it was about his life. But the actors and actresses, there's black men playing like George Washington and famous guys like that. So it's a very diverse cast. And it's a musical, but they've got a lot of rapping in it. So it's kind of like an R&B musical. It's very popular. For a nosebleed ticket, it's about $1,000 a piece.
Really?
Yes, and Lin-Manuel Miranda just stopped doing, because he played Alexander Hamilton. He wrote this thing, he produced it, and he kind of stepped back from that role along with a couple other of the original cast members, and they passed it off to somebody else because he's going to be focusing on this. So yeah, but I've been really excited for the Beauty and the Beast that's coming out. It's supposed to be really, really awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. I didn't believe it or not. We were listening to Disney tracks earlier.
Yeah, we were.
And I told you that it wasn't a huge on the princess movies and all that stuff. So I just have to throw it out there. I did not see the animated version of Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast is a really good movie.
There's a lot of other ones too I didn't see. Like Which ones? I didn't see The Princess and the Frog.
That was a
I
good one too. I haven't seen it, but I heard it was really good.
I did see others though. Like I saw Tangled. I did not see Brave. And I did not see. I don't know if that's a princess movie, but I haven't seen Hunchback of Notre Dame. I heard that one was really really good though. But I mean, there's a lot of Disney movies I haven't seen.
Okay, you ready for this? Here's the cast for the new Beauty and the Beast. We've got Emma Watson as Belle.
Okay, you know what? No, this movie's gonna be good.
Luke Evans as Gaston. Dan Stevenson as the Beast. We've also got Lumiere, who's played by Ian McGregor.
Ian McGregor. Why does that sound familiar?
Emma Thompson, I'm not sure. Emma Thompson plays Mrs. Potts. Clogsworth is played by Ian McKellen. We've also got here. I'm trying to skip over to some of the more popular titles, or some of the more popular, like well-known roles.
Hang on, I'm googling some of this real quick. Hang on.
I'm trying to figure out who Lin-Manuel Miranda is playing.
Who's playing Gaston?
Gaston? I just said that. Gaston was Luke Evans.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you know what? I'm looking up like some of the I'm looking that up on Google right now, and yeah, like a lot of the actors they look the role well.
Yeah.
The Beast. Oh man, the Beast. He looks well beastly. But yeah, no, it's looking good. Let's see. What else is there? Oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot of commercials for that new Vin Diesel movie, Triple X.
Triple X is also going to be coming out.
Yep, they're bringing that back out. They haven't made a Triple X movie in what, almost 10 years now?
Yeah.
I remember that was like a new thing, like from like my sister and brother when like I was a little kid, like probably, well, let's see, 10 years ago. Like I was like 12 or 13. I wasn't even in that, a lot of these kinds of movies yet. But yeah, like Triple X, I heard that one's gonna be pretty good. I heard it's even got Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Really?
Yeah, and he's not playing one of his badass character role. Well, maybe a little bit, but not, he's certainly not gonna be any kind of Nick Fury in it. But,
my bad. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda is the guy who came up with Hamilton, the play.
But let's see. Here's another thing that's on the list for next year. It's Cars 3. I can't say I'm excited for that one. I think they didn't even need to make the second one, honestly. What's your thoughts on that?
I like the second one. It wasn't bad, but
I don't know. I feel like they took Cars and I feel like they turned it into a money scheme.
Well, that's what it was originally.
But like here it is. I mean, first of all, yeah, okay. The second one, I'm like, all right, you guys didn't really need it, but you did it, so it's okay. And then they go, and the moment where I lost all faith in it was when they went and made that side series, Planes. And I'm like, what's next? Trains? Boats? How about boats? Is there gonna be a boats?
I wouldn't put it past them.
And I'm just like, after that, it's like I really lost a lot of faith in it, and I was actually kind of particularly upset when it was Dane Cook who was voicing the main character in Planes, because I'm like, I like Dane Cook as a comedian, or I haven't listened to him in a long time, but like he's probably the comedian that got me into comedians. Dane Cook is. And I know he's called like a bad rap, like I think a lot of people like say he like steals jokes and stuff like that, but still, I've listened to his stuff. I think he's funny, but to see him play as a character in Planes, which I really just did not support as a movie as a whole, kind of upset me a little bit. But either way, Cars 3, I don't really feel that's necessary. But hey, I could be wrong. It could end up being something absolutely amazing, for all I know. I mean, like I said, I didn't really care for Cars 2 that much, so maybe this will be their comeback. What do you think?
I think it could be. Cars. I liked Cars originally because of just the movie. It was a fun movie. It was something cool for kids.
The first one was really good. I really liked the first one.
And I love Larry the Cable Guy as Mater and stuff like that. And he's a really memorable character. He's one of my favorites.
I like those.
And then I like 2 because I kind of like spies and secret agents. So that was kind of cool to see a Cars version of it.
Some of that stuff was cool.
But I don't know what they're gonna do as like it's a 3. I mean, and the 2 had kind of a cool message of, you need to stand by your friends, no matter what, kind of know what you have, or, you don't know what you have until it's too late kind of thing.
But it's like with 3, it's like, what are you even going to do with it?
I don't know. As long as they bring back the same voice actors, I'll go and see it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
But it is a giant money scheme. The reason they're doing it is so they can sell more toys. That's literally all it is. But it works. That's what it is. It's what it works. It's why they do it. And
exactly.
I mean, we can move on.
It's all part of the formula.
Anyway, moving on. So let's see. We've got Star Wars fans are going to be excited because Episode 8 comes out in 2017 also.
Man, Rogue One hasn't even come out. Wait, when's Rogue One come out? That comes out.
I think it came out already. If not, it came out very soon. It comes out very soon.
Rogue One comes out. I think this holiday season it comes out. I'm actually looking really forward to that. I heard they're bringing back James Earl Jones as
Darth Vader.
Yeah, as Darth Vader. I'm really excited to see that. I'm really hoping to see more of a badass Darth Vader, like in his prime kind of deal. Because I mean, I think I mentioned it before. It's like in like the old Star Wars movies. It's like, if ever a lightsaber fight, it was really just kind of like stand in one place and kind of swing your saber at it. It's not like the prequels. Even though the prequels caught a lot of hate, the lightsaber fights in the prequels were amazing, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they caught a lot of hate because most of it was the lineup, but they also weren't as good as the originals too.
Mm-hmm.
They would have done them in order. They would have been awesome, but that's just my.
Yeah.
Anyway, another. Anyway, so Episode 8's coming out, so everybody's gonna be mad because Han Solo's dead.
Yeah, I'm still upset about that.
But also, Batman fans are gonna be excited because the Lego Batman movie comes out.
That actually looks interesting.
It looks really good.
I'm not a huge...
It looks really funny. It looks kind of like like there's enough comedy for adults, but it's enough but it's kind of over kids' heads so that adults get humor out of it, but kids can enjoy it because it's Batman.
Kind of like what Shrek did.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of other cartoons like Frozen did, and Disney is notorious for dropping stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I thought it was Batman's character in the Lego movie was pretty hilarious because his whole character was like, I'm Batman, in the Lego movie. Did you see it?
I saw the Lego movie, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Batman's character was pretty funny in that.
Oh,
because his whole character was the whole I'm Batman kind of thing.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty funny.
No, it is really funny. Have you seen the trailer for the Lego Batman movie?
Yeah, I heard. Weren't they like cracking some kind of joke about the Batmobile like not having seatbelts or something?
Yes, they cracked a joke about the Batmobile not having seatbelts. It's meant to be really funny, and like I said, it's got a lot of adult jokes, but it's got a lot of kids jokes too. They're clean enough to where I think a kid could come and watch this, but I think this is more
better
for adults.
be. I mean, it's a Lego movie.
But it is an adult. I feel like it's geared towards adults too.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of like the original Lego movie. Like there was enough dirty jokes in there to keep me entertained.
Definitely.
But they weren't dirty enough to where kids couldn't watch them.
Right.
It kind of went right over their heads. So in a few years when they grow up, that movie can be ruined when they actually watch it again and figure out what all the jokes were and why their parents were actually laughing.
Oh, I see what I missed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I want to go back and there's some movies from my childhood I want to go back and rewatch just for those sole reasons.
Like what?
Well, I mean, first of all, here's the thing. I know we weren't like super young when it came out, but like Shrek, every time I could go back and watch Shrek again and again, and I'll catch something new every time.
Oh, I love Shrek.
Shrek is absolutely amazing. It kind of lost its pizzazz as like they went on with the movies, but like the first one, it was just.
I don't know. I thought 2 was really good. I didn't see
good.
3.
3 was. 4 was.
There's a 4?
There's Shrek. There's Shrek 2. There's Shrek the Third. There's Shrek Forever After, which was not very good.
I saw Shrek 1 and 2, and those were the 2 that I liked.
Those were the ones that were the best.
I didn't see 3. And I definitely haven't seen 4 because I didn't know that there was a 4.
The fourth one, they got like a Christmas special one too.
See,
It's one of those things. They
2 was
overplayed.
good. They should have stopped at 2. 2 was because it was funny. It had some, like new songs to it. Well, one of my favorites is the end of the original when they have like a dance party.
Oh yeah.
But then you look up like half of those songs, and none of those are appropriate. Like, the song by Sir Mix-a-Lot where he's like, "I like big butts and I cannot like." They did that in Shrek, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool," But then you listen to that song, and I used to rack these lyrics off as a kid, and I did not know what half of these lyrics meant. Apparently,
My anaconda don't want none
Right.
unless you got
You
buns,
know,
huh?
it's like you don't realize what that means until you're adult. You're like, "Oh my god!" Like I sang this as a kid. I didn't even know what I was singing. Like what?
You get sprung.
And now I realize when my grandma was like, "That song is so bad." I'm like, "Why is it that bad?" Like it only cusses like here, and it was like one spot, and it wasn't even like a cuss word. And it's like, now that I look back, yeah, that was a very,
It's a
very,
pretty
very
bad
inappropriate song. But it was kind of funny because it put a child spin on it, so that it was clean. They just took a little bit of the song. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of fun. I like Shrek 1, and Shrek 2 was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the ending was really funny.
There's another one. I'm not exactly sure how much of a kid's movie it was, but I watched it a lot as a kid. It was a Jim Carrey movie called Liar Liar.
I love that movie.
And, I never even realized as a kid, like, just so much of, like, as a kid growing up, I missed at least half of that movie.
Hey, what about the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey in it? Have you seen that one?
Yes, I've seen it. I have to go back and rewatch it because I haven't watched it in well over 5 or 6 years.
Oh, it was so funny because it was one of my favorite movies as a kid. And then I watch it now, and I'm like,
I didn't even realize it was Jim Carrey until I was older.
See, I knew it was Jim Carrey, and it was really funny because, like, I didn't even think about it when I was a kid that, she was played off as kind of like an
like
an
a performer,
object.
or like she was a little bit objectified, really.
Right. And I'm like, and I didn't even think about it, but she's wearing like all these really short dresses and things like that, and she's hitting on him, and I don't even think I realized what was going on until I got older.
Yeah, definitely not. But that's another movie I gotta go back and rewatch. I gotta watch that one. I want to go back and watch Liar Liar again because I watched it like about a month or two ago, but I only caught bits and pieces because I was busy doing homework and there was all kinds of commotion going on around.
Right.
And even then, I was catching a lot of stuff I missed before, and I'm like, oh my god, did they really? And like the first half of that movie, I never really thought of him as like much of an actual liar, but through like the first half of the movie, it's like literally
he lies about everything.
Every little thing he lies about, and I'm just like, oh my god.
See, it's kind of funny.
And it's so funny.
It kind of reminds me of the movie Yes Man that Jim Carrey was in. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, Yes Man was okay. I'd have to go back and watch it again. Like I said, I only watched it the one time, and you never catch everything the first time through. It doesn't matter how old you are.
It was really funny. Yes Man, I thought was really funny because it's you have this guy that says no to everything, and then he says yes to everything, and you realize how bad it is to do either.
Well, that's the kind of Jim Carrey. That's kind of Jim Carrey's kind of thing, though. Like half his movies, he'll be one kind of person, and then something happens, and then he has to be the total opposite of that person. Like Liar Liar was like that. Yes Man was like that. Bruce Almighty was kind of like that.
Not really.
I mean,
he just realized what it was like. Well, Jim Carrey's a really good actor in general. I've always been happy. Especially he played the Riddler in one of the
Batman movies,
and I thought he did an awesome job. It was really funny.
I liked him in Series of Unfortunate Events as Count
He
Olaf.
was really good.
I thought that was a really funny role.
Jiminy Snicket's.
Lemony
Snicket.
You're thinking Jiminy Cricket.
Yes, I am. Jiminy Cricket.
But that movie was underrated too. I wish they would have kept going with those. I didn't read the books, but like the movie, I really liked.
I kind of got bored during the movie. I'm not gonna lie. There was one that it was good, but I didn't really care for it too much. Nanny McPhee was one that I really didn't care about.
I did not see Nanny McPhee.
No, but Jim Carrey has a way of picking out some really good movies to do.
Mhm.
So, okay, well, why don't we move on a little bit? We'll get on to what's probably gonna be our last topic, and it might take a while to talk about. So, the new Fast 8 movie.
Fast and Furious 8.
Fast and Furious 8. Well, I don't know if it's in Fast and Furious 8 or not.
It's gonna
But the big question is Brian O'Connor going to make an appearance in any of the future Fast movies?
That's the big question now, isn't it? That's the $1 million question.
See, I thought after the end of 7 they were going to be done. He was going to be done. He might do a phone call or something. But that might be it. But I guess according to I think I got this one off of Entertainment Weekly as well. And they talked to his brother, who's Cody Walker, and he revealed that Vin Diesel was talking to him and asked for his and his brother's blessing to use Paul's character of Brian O'Connor in future Fast movies. And I don't know
how you feel about it.
I don't. I mean, I love the ending and the tribute to Paul Walker.
Well,
That was great. I kind of am under the impression they need to leave it like that. You know, that was kind of like his exit from the series. And I mean, he will always be a part of the Fast series.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, they could throw in a phone call here or something like that. But I feel like they got away with, you know, being able to CGI, you know, use his brother in his place, and the CGI turned out really well.
But then again, like,
but because they got away with it, I think they're going to try to. They think they might be able to do it again and get away with it. That's when a lot of people run into problems. They get away with something once, and then they try to do it again in more bulk. Like they try to do more of it, and like, because this whole movie would have to be CGI.
Yeah, here's the thing with Furious 7. The thing with that was the movie was already like somewhere between 60 and 80% already done filming at the time of Paul's death.
Right.
So yeah, so they didn't have as much of a project with it to do the CGI.
Right.
But if they were going to do this again, first of all, would they be using his brothers as body doubles again?
It didn't say.
Because first of all, there's that whole can of worms to figure out. Second of all, yeah, it's not going to be the same. They don't have 60% of the movie filmed already. You know, they're going to have to literally do that for the entire movie if they're, you know, going to keep Paul in it. But at the same time, the alternative is to write him off somehow.
Well, he's already been written off.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of retired. He's going to, you know, live happily ever after. And actually, the what I had originally said is, you know, because that means that his Brian O'Connor's wife at this point, who is Vin Diesel's character's sister, you know, she could make an appearance as, like, you know, a phone call, like, hey, you know, how's everybody doing? Like, Vin Diesel's character calls her and sees how everybody's doing, and they could talk about Paul's character Brian. You know, and what is he up to? Kind of give everybody an update of what his character is doing, and keep him alive in that respect. Or have him do, you know, have both of them on the phone or something like that. Just something small. If they do something small, I feel like they could actually get away with it. But you know, the movie industry, they're gonna go big or go home, and
well,
I feel like if they go too.
I know the thing too is, I think it was even before, I don't remember if it was before or after Paul's death. But like they said that, you know, they love making these movies and that they were gonna keep making it and they were gonna do it. They said they were gonna keep making those movies until people wouldn't go see them anymore. Well,
yeah, and that's Vin Diesel and the entire cast, but I don't think they should, you know, if they are gonna keep Paul Walker's character alive, I think it should be like a phone call here, maybe a video chat there, things like that, small things where, you know, yeah, then you can get away with, you know, CGIing. You know, Paul's head on his brother's body or something like that, you know.
Right.
Kind of doctoring it up a little bit. But if you're talking about bringing him in for the full movie, that's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, it's going
to be so much work. That's where it's going to kind of start falling apart at the seams.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to tell, like, because I was looking for when they CGI'd, you know, when they used the CGI stuff. And I couldn't see any of it. Which either A, they didn't use any of it, or B, they did really good at covering it up.
They did really good. Honestly, I could not tell.
Me either. But will they get that lucky again?
That remains to be seen.
It does, and it's, I don't know. This is just kind of a topic that
It's a slippery slope.
it is. It's a very slippery slope. There's really no good way to go about it. But I think the best option would be to, like have a phone call with like Brian O'Connor's wife, and maybe in future episodes, depending on how many more movies they do, they could have his Brian O'Connor's kid in the mix.
That'd be interesting,
You know
like
what I mean?
like the taking up the mantle kind of thing.
Right. Like maybe something happens to his dad, or his dad passes away of natural causes or something, and he goes against his dad's wishes and goes with his uncle, like his uncle, or
Right.
something. It could be something as simple as that. But I feel like if you get too elaborate with this, and it didn't say how in depth they were going to get with this, but one thing that they did say is, and it was actually Caleb Walker, Paul's other brother, because they both got to do it. When they were doing Seven, he said we got an understanding more about Paul, um, and what he was all about. We had to share Paul with a lot of people. In a weird way, he was gone a lot. He was filming. He was gone a lot because he was filming, so they missed him.
Mhm.
So they get to learn a lot about him by being on the set and talking to kind of like his movie family, because those actors and actresses are really close.
Right. But yeah, it's like even now I'm just thinking about all this. And he was such a great person too. And people don't even realize all the stuff that Paul was involved in real life. I mean, first of all, he was a very, good person. I mean, I remember hearing a story like there was an old army veteran and he was, at a jewelry store with his to-be wife or they were already together or something. And the veteran, they were trying to find a ring that he could afford or whatever, and Paul was there, and he told him to pick out any any ring, whatever, and he ended up paying for it for the veteran and all that. So and it was a really sweet story. And that was just one thing that he did. I mean, it turns out he was involved in a lot of other stuff too. He was in a marine nature reservation too.
That's cool.
And people don't even realize that about him. He did a lot of behind the scenes stuff. He did a lot of preservation kind of work. He wasn't just an actor. He was,
He was more than an actor.
Yeah, he was a lot more than just an actor.
He had a great personality. It sounds like he had a kind heart. But that's a man who obviously loved what he was doing. He loved the Fast series. That's why he kept doing it. He loved um, he loved acting in general because he's been in a lot of different movies. But he liked people. He liked veterans. He liked people. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them bringing his character back. Like I said, for a phone call, that'd be sweet. But for a full like scene, or for a full movie, I'm not sure about. You know,
Yeah,
one scene of like a phone call or something would be kind of cool. Like ask his advice, or maybe it's like something's about to go down, and Vin Diesel's character calls his sister and talks to them and kind of like says his goodbyes, like you know, or just kind of see how they're doing, and that because that's kind of like his driving force now.
right.
It's kind of like talking to his family. That's kind of what revs him up, and gets it
The whole point of the series is family.
right. And so I feel like they could do that, and they could do that throughout several movies. It would be kind of cool, He makes these calls just to see how he's doing. Then that way, his character does live on. You're kind of telling what he's doing, how he's doing, if he's got any problems, if he's sick, how his son is doing, and that right there will be enough to keep the character alive, especially with a lot of different people.
Definitely. I'm really cautious. I'm curious. I'm not sure what to expect, and I'm looking forward to see what they do. I'm hoping that they do good with it. I really am because it's like they did a really good job on that last one. They did a really nice in memory of at the end that
That
whole
was really
that
cool.
whole
That
scene.
I mean, anytime I hear this song or the song that they played,
Well, every time anyone
"See
hears that
You
song,
Again," it's
oh,
just well, and that's what I think of, and I just like I don't know, you can't help but sing along. It's a really good song. It was real well written.
I still have it on my
Um,
phone.
I do. Um, it's actually kind of funny because I was listening to a station who's supposed to be like family friendly, and they play. There was a guy that made a comment. He's like, "I like this version better than the version with Wiz Khalifa, which is the one that they played."
Yeah, there was actually that song wasn't even the original version. There's another one. I have both the versions on my phone.
Well, right, but I don't like the original version. I
No.
listen to it. I'm like, it's boring. It lacks a little something.
Yeah, definitely.
Wiz Khalifa ended up, yeah, and you won't hear me say this that often because I'm not a big fan of rappers, but he added a little bit of something to the song, and especially since it was, part of such a big movement. But this dude's like, yeah, I don't like him anyway, but so here's the version without that. I'm like, why would that be the one that you play?
Right.
Why would why would that be the song that you would choose to play rather than the one that everybody knows and can I don't know. I
Relate
don't
to or sing
understand it.
along to. Like most people don't even realize half the words to the original.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the original's really good too. I have both versions on my phone, but I definitely do prefer the Wiz Khalifa version. The Wiz Khalifa version, it's got Paul. You know?
I was gonna say, but it's got the same singer singing it. It just has parts by Wiz Khalifa and it's kind of remixed a little bit.
Yeah.
Which sometimes remixes are better than the originals.
Sometimes, yeah, they really are.
I mean, and it's funny because I love Daft Punk, and when I worked at the factory, we listened to music a lot. And there was a point when we had these Bluetooth receivers, and I was listening to some music on my phone, like I was listening to Pandora, and we were jamming out, and there was this song, and I think it was a Kanye West song, and it had a part from it had a part from the song "Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger" by Daft Punk. And he's like, and this guy tried to argue with me and say that was the original. I'm like, no, Daft Punk came up with the original. And then he borrowed it and took pieces out and kind of screwed it up. It's kind of like Nicki Minaj and her song Anaconda, and then that song that I was referring to earlier. And it's kind of like, no, it's like I don't like Nicki Minaj, so I'm kind of, I've already got an opinion, but
right.
it's kind of like I just don't like I don't like the song.
No, it's not. The Nicki Minaj version is.
It's horrible.
It is.
It's horrid. It's so bad.
When I first heard it on the radio, I was just like, well, first of all, like at first I didn't realize it was a remix, and I was like, why is this song playing on the radio? This song's like ancient now. And then it's like I started hearing like Nicki Minaj singing, and I'm like, no.
Right.
No.
I won't even listen to it. I'll change the station or change the song, skip it, thumb it down, whatever. But it's just like what there's some artists who take a song and just ruin it. Then there's others who take it and kind of remix it, and they're able to honor the original song, but give it their own little spin. And I like when they do that. There's a lot of people that do that. Like there is a version of a Daft Punk song that somebody redid that's really cool. But then there's a version that I don't like, and I think it was done horribly. But again, that's just my opinion. Obviously, it's a song. It was probably a popular song, and it did really well, and that's why I know of it. But
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, but either way, like I said, I'm really looking forward to this because I'm curious. I want to see what they're gonna do. It's like sometimes this unfortunate kind of stuff happens, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
And so it's sad because even now it's like I hear about Paul Walker or whatever, and it's sad to think about. Like we miss him. Like he was probably one of my more favorite. Like, he was up there.
Right.
On my list. Really good actors that he was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I liked his one movie, Brick Mansions. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, it's an excellent movie. It was the last movie that he finished before he died,
Huh.
and it's I don't remember if it was based in Detroit or not, but it's a similar kind of place to Detroit, and it's really good. You should check it out.
I'll do that.
It's actually really good. I think it's on Netflix.
I'm actually really excited for a lot of these movies that are coming out, because you've got Deadpool 2, which the first one was so funny.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly, with the first one, I went in there with really high expectations because it was getting such good reviews, and frankly, I was a little disappointed because of it.
I wasn't.
Like,
at
I
all.
mean, I wish, like, the comedy aspect was absolutely amazing, but I wish, I think I wish there was more action in it.
I like the action. There was enough
And-
action, but there was a lot of comedy.
And there was a couple other aspects of it that I was disappointed with. Oh yes, one part I was disappointed with, and nobody even realizes it until I bring it up to them. But as soon as they hear it, or as soon as I say it, they're like, "Oh my God, you're right." Is the scene when he goes in the strip club and you see Stan Lee and he's like a DJ at the strip club,
Right.
and he doesn't break the fourth wall. He doesn't call Stan Lee out for being Stan Lee, and I was upset because Deadpool, he's like known for breaking the fourth wall, and Stan Lee appears in all of his movies.
So then if he appears in the second one, why don't you write the producers and say, hey, this is what you could do? Because then they might do it for that one.
Well, I'm sure they probably already thought of it. There's probably some reason they chose not to do it. But I don't know. If they probably will, and
It might have been something that slipped their minds and they didn't. That's why they
Maybe.
didn't do it.
Maybe, but I don't know. I'm hoping they do. I mean, another thing I'm hoping for too with Stanley is I'm hoping there's some Avengers like after the movie scene or whatever where like Stanley is like a room service or something like that, like a cleaning room or whatever. He's like going through one of the Avengers places and like he sees Thor's hammer and he just casually picks this up, dusts it underneath and puts the hammer down. Because he's worthy of picking up Thor's hammer because he's Stan Lee,
Right.
I think that would be a totally awesome touch.
That would be something that would be in Deadpool.
That would be something that would be in Deadpool, but except that Deadpool takes place in a different universe than the Thor, because Deadpool is part of the X-Men universe, while Thor is part of the Avengers.
Right.
Unless they did a crossover, but either way, I think it'd be really funny to see that where Stanley picks up Thor's hammer, dusts underneath it, and sets it down because. Only the worthy can lift his hammer, and I think that would be really funny. I mean, yeah,
it'd be really funny if Stan Lee walked over and picked it up and handed it to Thor.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, but then I think that would just be like too like blatantly off. I mean, it would be funny to see, definitely, but like it would be just too loud. Like the thing with the picking up the hammer, dusting underneath it, it's just that subtle like, oh wait, I get it. That makes it so golden. Just like, with Deadpool always breaking the fourth wall, like he should like call Stan Lee out for being Stan Lee. It's like, hey, I know you. You're Stan Lee.
Right.
I think that would be really hilarious to see.
Anyway, I think we've got a lot of good movies coming out in 2017, and I'm really excited.
Personally, right now, the two I'm looking forward to right now, it's not even gonna be 2017, but I'm looking forward to November for Doctor Strange.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to Star Wars Rogue One.
They're also coming out with have you ever seen the movie The Kingsman that came out like last year?
It looked good, and I wanted to see it, but I just didn't have the time or money.
I own it.
Is it good?
It's really good, and they're actually coming out with a 2.
Really?
Yes. There's talks of release. There's actually a trailer for a 2. So that's made me really excited. So.
Well, I'll have to look into that then, because it's on my list of things to watch. And another thing, I just got done watching this. And if you played the Pokemon games growing up, like even if you just played like the original, like Red or Blue, did you? Did you play those games? No. Well, either way, it's a really cool one to watch. But it's on I don't know if you have Hulu, but it's called Pokemon Origins.
Okay.
It's only a 4-episode miniseries of Pokemon, starring Red and Blue.
Nice.
And it's really good. It's a really good little series. It's based more off the games.
Right.
And it's a good one. And it's only like 4 episodes long, so it's literally like not even 2 hours out of your life to watch it.
Right.
But it's good. So if you get the time to watch that, it's really good. It came out in 2013. I just stumbled upon it and found it, and I liked it. It's what I think it's. I like the picture of it as what Pokemon would be really like if it were real, as
Cool.
opposed to the regular show. But I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion. But
Anyway, I want to thank you, Mark, for coming in again.
yeah, thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you in. Let's try to see who we can get next week. I feel like we can get another party going in here.
That I would like that. Maybe we'll see what like Logan or Justin or
Yeah,
one of
we'll
them
see if
are
we
up to or
can
something.
dig
We'll see.
somebody up and get them in here.
That'd be nice. That'd be fun.
Like always, I want to give a shout out to all of you that listen every week. I love every week when I shut it down, it tells me how many views I had, and I just go back and look at how many views I've had overall, and it's just to me it's mind blowing. I would have never thought on day one that I would have as many views as I've have and as many likes on the page and things like that. So I'll keep developing the show as long as you guys keep listening. So I just wanted to give a shout out and thank you for that. And remember, next week, 6 o'clock, there might be a Monday. It actually might be next Monday. I need to check it out first. There might be a Monday when I might be doing a school project. I'm going to see if I can kind of do it early when we have class rather than have it late. So I might be moving the show. So just keep an eye on the Facebook page. In case of that announcement, because I'll try to figure out in the next couple days here, and let you know. If you don't hear anything, that means it says on schedule as planned, so it'll be 6 o'clock next Monday, right here on Spreaker.com, or if you're listening through Facebook, it'll be on our Topic Talks Facebook page or my personal Facebook page. But as always, I'm Aaron Klingesmith.
And Mark Wilson.
Signing off.